Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Every Day's a Train Wreck. I'm your host, Marley Major, the conductress, as I like to say, and I am so excited because I have one of my longest, closest, most fun friends to introduce you to, Ruth Moyte. To me, she's our Moyte. She'll tell you all about that, and we know each other from the event planning world. But that's just kind of really where it began, and it's been such a nice long saga until then. I cannot wait for you to enjoy this ride with us and meet one of the coolest chicks, a fiery freaking redhead that makes me look like I'm asleep at the switch. So our Moyte, jump in, baby, and give us the backstory.
I am so excited to be here. This is just like a flashback. I'm going to probably be all over the place with nostalgic fun.
Well, that's the point. That's the only reason you're on here, dude. If you were able to talk in a straight line, guess what? You wouldn't be here. So,
I'm that person and probably the aunt that everybody goes, oh, don't start a conversation with her unless you want all the details, because that's just how it is, So going down the rabbit hole of what my background was and how we met each other.
Oh God, talk about forget what you wish for. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's going to come up every time, by the way, on this podcast. Every freaking time somebody goes, well, actually, how we met was because when you were dating so-and-so. I swear to you. Okay, so anyway.
I forget who you were dating. Because
Tom Gifford. That's how I met you, was through Tom Gifford, who died. Right. Remember, he died.
He did die. And now every time I have a backache, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I think about that, right? And I'm like, don't ignore the backache. So I take that all the way for him. Yes. And then I go have a green apple martini because I think that was what we were drinking.
100%. And Tom,
it was only a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah, just a couple. Well, I was between husbands. Well, yeah. And okay, well, anyway, I'm going to let you tell the story because obviously I've already interrupted. You haven't even gotten three words out. Okay.
Oh, no, that's great because that's kind of how we talk. Like, if anybody tries to follow us, I mean, you probably have to be as scattered and train wrecky as we are, because that's just our conversation. But we did meet through Tom, and it was a fast and furious relationship. And I remember that Marley was going to start the Party Goddess, and she said, I need a website, but I don't know what to put on it. And I was like,
oh, right.
Okay,
you were the
here's
girl.
what we're going to do.
My God. Okay, so you guys, now I do have to set this up because for a second I forgot about that. So you guys have heard me say, or anybody who's heard me, ironically, I had to guest lecture, I was super excited. I guest lectured at Georgetown and did 3 guest lectures. And in those lectures, what always comes up every time is the beginning of the story of like, well, how did you become a party goddess? Because obviously the restaurant business and all that stuff was a train wreck before. And I said, well, I was dating this guy and, I had to come up with this name, and I came up with his name, the Party Goddess. And he took me to this event and he's like, okay, this is going to be the event. You're going to introduce it. And how everybody basically laughed at me. But what is so significant about this that I completely forgot, Ruth, is that Ruth, I have the drawings and the notes of what, no, I kid you not, of what you told me. You're like, okay, you do full service lighting, you do like I remember you gave me this whole list and I was like, I do. You're like, yeah, because I can help you if there's somebody calls and says they need that. I was like, okay, sounds good. Oh my gosh. Okay, great. I'm glad so keep going. So tell me, you literally told me what to put.
I did. And then it was like, I got you. Like, don't worry about it. If somebody calls that, call me. It's all good. And yes, I think one of the first events that we ever did together, though, was a celebrity wedding.
Yes.
And I remember, I don't know, man, if you want to talk about a day in the life of a train wreck, that was probably from A to Z right there, that whole thing. It was a celebrity wedding. They're going to remain anonymous. Yeah, I like that word, anonymous, because that way I can talk whatever I want to talk about. But the planning was just crazy. Marley is a warrior because she can do weddings and stuff. I can't. I would rather face a whole board full of pissed off CEOs, that kind of thing, because I can't deal with that emotional, let's call it emotional money, because, everything matters. Who's going to cut the cake? I remember.
I love me some emotional money. Money is what I'm tracking. Yeah.
I thought Edith was going to get cut. I mean, it was just like, that was too much. Do you remember the DJ in that? They had their own DJ and he showed up without any He just showed up by himself, like no equipment, no music.
Right.
No, he was just like, I'm here to DJ.
Well, yeah. And oh my gosh. Yeah. Talk about, and by the way, that story has come up and I forgot that that was with you. And I think, wasn't he one of the ones that had this was in the day when it was like super gray. I think we're kind of back to that day. That's how long this has been, that the pants, like you kind of showed the crack like that. Like, I think his pants were really, and I was like, sir, your pants need to be somehow secured to your waistline and your person. Like, I don't know what kind of backdoor action. I don't care what you're getting, sir, but you need elastic that works or a belt with a loop that does not emphasize the fact you've been on meth for 6 months and lost so much weight. Okay. Like,
by the way, let us just insert here that this was not one of our resources. It was the clients, like, I know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And so anyways, that, and they did the cake. And I mean, like showing up at the gate and she's like 6 hours late.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but here's my question, just while we were talking about that, does anything ever show up on time other than the two of us? Like, what I want to know is, does it really, I mean, because there always seems like somebody's got a drop. Oh, well, this, that. I feel like at every event, I'm always looking for someone, right? I'm like, has anybody seen the fill in the blank? Like, no matter how many times and it's like they're chatting or they're loading or they're there, but it's like, where is your sense of urgency, right? Because you're the one that's actually got to spin the records, or, not really. But
then to come with no records, that was scary. So.
Yeah. Yes. And let's just remind everybody. I mean, these are people that we're talking about. This is a more money than God scenario. I mean, this is money like, well, one day I will have, thanks to doing all this. But no, and it never fails. But yeah, we're always looking for somebody. Okay, so keep going about the backstory.
I mean, there's so many of them. Like, one leads to the next. I mean, I remember being down at California Plaza. I don't know what they call it now.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes. Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, it's such a gorgeous venue, but boy, you have to have the budget. I mean, you're not going, 15,000. But we went down. We had a great night that night, though. It wasn't really our event, but we got to go and be besties and not judge everything. It was great.
Well, that's the best part of it all. And the thing that you guys need to know about Ruth is she's not giving her true backstory, but Ruth is one of the most, like, talented, hardcore, like, your operational skills and your back end and your timelines and spreadsheets before they were spreadsheets are magic, right? And I mean, it was like, not only was it intimidating and daunting, but it was like, I was like, oh, okay, yes, Ruth, no, Ruth. Like, I mean, whether I was the lead or not, or you were the lead, I mean, you really were like heads and shoulders, just not only above me, but above so many people. But I think in this industry, you kind of have to be that way, right? You've got to be able to go into a situation and take charge and just say, nope, we're doing this, and pivot, because there literally is always a train wreck or a fire marshal waiting to shut you down, right?
Yeah. So I think there was a couple of things there. So when in my younger years, I didn't know it at the time, but my anxiety required me to document everything because I was so afraid to mess up. I was so afraid to look bad to anybody or look incompetent, because I think in my mind, I have such a high expectation for myself,
right,
that I expect everybody to operate there. And that was a detriment to me in my younger years. So I learned later on, and it's still hard for me, is flexibility, right?
Yeah.
To allow that humanness in production and in what's happening. And that's still a struggle for me because I like to have all my ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And I mean, half the time I can't even find the freaking ducks.
Right. Those ducks are swimming. They're upside down. Exactly. And
so I was kind of like Sergeant Schwartz, kind of a little bit in the beginning. And, I find myself apologizing sometimes for it. But at the same time, I know at the end of the day, when that client walks through the door, that the room is ready. Everything is on point. Everybody is there. We can kick back and then just run the show. Because I've got that double brain thing going on. That is like, I have all this creativity and it goes and goes and goes. But at a certain time, my brain just goes, shut up with the creativity and make it happen. And then it's time to produce. And so it's literally almost like having two personalities. Because when that happens, it's like, okay, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. Don't step out of line.
Right.
I used to line my catering people up and make them hold their hands out and make sure they didn't have like scrappy polish on, or, I mean, I was kind of.
But the thing that people don't understand is that at the end of the day, our clients are bosses. Like we might have big personalities, we might have whatever, but let's just face it. I mean, I don't want to say we're afraid of our clients, but I mean, our clients are pulling all the strings. Let's face it. I mean, they can withhold the payment to us, and then we've got to still pay all of our other vendors, right? They can sue us. I mean, there's a million things they can do. So at the end of the day, we're being hard asses, not because we want to be policewomen, but because we take it very seriously that we want to produce on behalf of our clients. And at the end of the day, that's the bottom line. And we take it super seriously. And if it means that, you know, people don't like us, which is natural, then that's what it is. But you've worked for literally some of the most amazing people. I mean, like founders of the event planning industry, because before it was just people were caterers, or you had a caterer, you had a florist, and the only people who did quote all of it were like, if you had a high-end wedding planner who would kind of put it all under their, you know, ball of wax and under their tool tent, or like a huge corporation, right? That would then hire you to hire all these people. But kind of what in the industry, then what started happening with some of these key players for whom you worked, who really set the stage and paved it for us, was that every man could hire an event planner, right? You didn't have to be a huge corporation. You didn't have to be Coca-Cola. You didn't have to have $1 billion wedding. You could say, hey, listen, I'm having a Christmas party and I just want one point person, kind of like the contractor or the foreman on a job. And I think that's kind of the secret sauce that you taught me, was how to bridge that gap, you know, between thinking it's only one way and then, you know, because as I say, it didn't really exist the other way.
Right. And it was, that was a really interesting time. We've been through some changes, like through what the industry started out as, and then how it morphed into, it kind of split into the corporate social scene.
Yeah.
And then from that, you started getting experiential.
Yeah.
And then out of that, I feel like promo came.
Yeah.
And then promo and experiential kind of went together. And then experiential to where we are now. But
and now, well, then let's talk about the whole COVID and how like COVID happened. And then it was like all of a sudden our entire world had to become virtual until we knew what was going to happen. Because I don't know about you, but when COVID started, I didn't think this was going to be some 3-year run of a total disaster. And it just imploded our industry, which, you know, sometimes is good. You have a forest fire, clears out a lot of dead wood, but it's scary. And you do have to reinvent yourself, which is kind of the foundation of being an entrepreneur. But what do you think now of, well, and then the other thing too that's been interesting in our industry, which you and I have talked about a lot in the past, is pricing and kind of the race to the bottom, right? This whole thing where, because there are still no barriers to entry in our industry, right? You don't have to have, like, if you're going to go to a chiropractor, they've got to have some kind of license or some kind of degree. I mean, we don't have to have anything. You can just steal somebody's photos on Pinterest or Instagram and be like, hey, I do this. You don't have to have insurance, nothing. And then it was like everybody just started copying everybody and saying, oh yeah, I can do this for $500. And then the real ones out there were going, wait a minute.
Right. And I still, you know, so you just brought up a super good point. That is kind of lately my little soapbox that I talk about. And I was watching a conversation the other day on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And it was talking about regulation in the events industry. And I recently had a client that, I mean, my career has kind of evolved as I got older, and I didn't want to be older, meaning 29.
Yeah. Well, part of it was you didn't want to be in LA anymore. So you moved. From LA. So just before you jump into that, Pete, so you went from LA to where?
When I stopped producing, and then it was like before COVID, we had 2008, 2009, right? And so I had laid off everyone. This was like when I got back from Trinidad from speaking, right? Remember this?
Yeah, well,
I got back, and before I left, my boss had said, you know, we need 2 more people that are going to be laid off. And I said, I don't know who that's going to be. I mean, we're running lean and mean and da, da, da. So I got back, and one of them was me. And I was told, well, you know, I'm going to do that because I know if I throw you into the fire, you'll come out. Okay. And I'm like, well, that's nice, but.
Well, it is the ultimate compliment, and it's true.
Yeah. And it's scary, you know? And so I was sitting, people would call after that and they said, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm going to write, because writing has always been one of my first loves.
Yeah.
And I knew that was going to be like the second part of my career. I mean, not because I sat down and wrote out a strategy of what my career looked like, but because it evolved. I loved the marketing. I loved convincing people. I loved writing scripts. I loved anything that could convince people to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
I loved doing. So scripts, speeches, marketing.
I forgot about the speeches. You crushed it with the speeches. Some of this stuff I'd be like, you'd show me and I'd be like, damn, girl, where do I vote? And you're like, oh, this is for somebody. Totally. That was a big thing to me to learn that, wow, people don't actually even write their own damn speeches.
Yeah, it's fun. And, there's always a part of me that has to be able to help someone, right?
Yeah.
And so the speaking part of it and doing some of the speaking coaching that I've been blessed to do with big individuals that you don't think about that are terrified to be on stage.
Totally.
By the time you get them out there, it's just like have a conversation with people, right? That is truly, it is that simple.
Yeah.
Have a conversation with people.
Right.
And you can say anything, you can do anything. And I wish I could turn that one sentence into $1 million book.
Maybe you can, and maybe that's a t-shirt, but it is just, and it's so funny you say that, because now that I started this podcast, right? And it's so funny to me because in the past, like I do have publicists, I have all this thing, and I swear to you, they're pitching me like 24/7, right? God bless them. And it's so funny because, you get a lead, or like my publicist will get a lead about a TV thing or a podcast or something. And it's like, I have to respond in 3 seconds because somebody else will take the opportunity. But what's so funny is now that I'm on the other side, it's so interesting as to who jumps at the opportunity. Like to me, this is like the biggest gift ever because you're like, you can promote whatever you want. It is basically, this is like an infomercial, right? But who gets really shy? And I'm like, blast, man. I'm over here like begging for the TV, whatever opportunity. And then you present it to some people and they're like, they're scared. They're scared or they don't know what to do with it or what am I going to talk about? And I always say the same thing. Just think of it as the two of us. We're shooting the breeze like we've shot it 1,000 times before. No matter what, it's going to go in the direction it's supposed to go. I'm going to kind of say, hey, listen, I want to talk about Trinidad, that's really a great story. We're going to talk about Trinidad. And then other than that, it's like, just let it go. And then we'll have the conversation and it goes exactly where it's supposed to go. But it's amazing that it is all just about just talk to the one person, which goes back to the customer, the client avatar, or it goes back to, like who's your audience, and you just chat with them and they'll be interested. It doesn't have to be, and then I would like to welcome you to, or that's when everybody goes to sleep.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
They're like, oh God, another like corporate snooze fest.
Well, that, and then our culture has changed so much. I know we're kind of jumping all over the place, but
that's the point.
Our culture has changed so much. So along with like my mind is just going in like 30 different directions. People want to be engaged, right? And they want to have ownership, whether they're sitting, listening in a convention.
Yeah.
They either want education, they want to be engaged, and they want to feel like their investment into it means something.
And investment might be money, but it very much just could be time. And how that is now is you've got to like, quote, produce, even if it's just a TikTok video. Otherwise, people are swiped. They're like, okay, next. Like, you've got to deliver something to your audience, whoever it is. But they have to feel like, I want to sit here and listen to this.
And have you watched the time frames of being able to do that? I remember, and I don't know the numbers, I would have to look them up again. But about 10 years ago, I did a presentation on marketing. And it was like, we saw like 3,500 images a day. Oh. Yes. So today, can you imagine what those numbers look like? Because then we didn't have TikTok. We had Facebook. It was kind of starting. Video really hadn't seen it. Everybody was trying to discover what the iPhone could do, So now you have video, you have TikTok, you have different platforms.
Well, you probably do.
Be on Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Stitch. What's this new one? Threads, Stitch, Twitch. I'm just like, this morning I got this thing like, oh, you've got 90 new followers on, I don't even know, Threads or something. And I was just like, oh, I clicked on that yesterday. Like, and they're following me for what? I haven't even done a thread or a stitch or a, keep going.
That kind of ties back into the regulation piece, right? Mm-hmm. So the regulation of the event planning world, at some point, I truly believe as an event professional, that they're going to have to set standards. I had a client recently, we did help them find a couple of senior producers and people for their company because it's growing. They did a great job of the quote unquote pivot, which is my least favorite word. You know, I have one every year, and pivot is it for the last 10, it feels like at this point. And so I was going through reading, I read 1,000 resumes. Looking for the right people. Yeah. And it is amazing as to what in our industry people think they have done. We used to make fun of the person that started out as an event planner that did their cousin's wedding.
Right.
Well, now they've done one promo at Electric Daisy, and they think that they're a experiential producer.
Oh, my favorite though is where I planned events for my sorority. So to them, that's a breadth of knowledge.
Or their college. And there's a couple of big ones in California. And probably because I was interviewing for a California company, I got more of them, that I was an event planner at my college.
Yeah. And you're like, so? I mean, that's like saying I brushed my teeth this morning.
Right. Now, you know, on the other side of that, though, I have gotten a couple of people out of their colleges, like down in San Diego, that work for us that were amazing, you know, but they were studying event planning.
Well, bingo. And that's the key thing, is that there was the educational component and kind of this, you actually looked at it as a craft and you worked your craft. You didn't look at it as I've done a couple of events. But I think one of the things that make the two of us stand out is that we've always been on the education bandwagon, both sides, taking educational classes and then also teaching them and really being like, hey, listen, this is our experience. This is how we do it. You don't have to do it that way. Pick and choose. But like, how do you do your spreadsheets? How do you do your timelines? What do you use? And it was always kind of like, oh, that's great. And then you would adopt that. It's like, oh, hey, listen, can I model that? You would adopt it and put it into your toolbox. Now it's just kind of like, oh, can I sign up for this? And now it's going to give me all the tools. And now I'm an event planner. It's like, no, you're freaking not, because you have no experience. You cannot tell me. It's like, you put them in real world examples. And it's like, okay, hey, Ruth, new baby event planner from, what are you going to do when the fire marshal shows up? What are the fire regulations? Where do they apply? What do you do? What happens if the fire marshal shows up? Well, I don't know. I talked to him. I mean, it's like the fire marshal can shut you down. And it's, by the way, your responsibility. And what does your contract look like? And
all of those basic things that, you know, still apply. And again, there's no regulation in our industry. So there is no one degree that you have to get. There's no achievement that you have to make in order to be in the industry. And until we do that, I mean, we are a legitimate industry. Billions and billions of dollars come into the US and we take our clients overseas, whatever. But we are a legitimate industry, but those designations of what your levels are and what you are involved in needs to happen. And everybody needs to embrace it. I mean, now you have this, and
those are, just for people who don't know, those are like certain certifications. But
they're not, some of them have even kind of gone away.
Well, they've gone away. And by the way, CMP and some of these I haven't heard in a while. And I almost think that the only ones that are impressed by those at this point, not, by the way, we should be impressed because that's taken work for them to get them. But it's like, we almost have it just for like each other, right? Like the other people in the event planning world, because the customer doesn't know. And the thing that always amazes me is how much risk an event planner is taking, how much risk. Like when we see these things about the stage collapses, you know, at this festival, or the whatever fire breaks out in XYZ club. As my lawyer one time told me, he's like, you know, when something like that happens, he's like, if I'm lawyer for the client, he's like, I'm going to sue the farmer that freaking raised the cow that served the beef for dinner. I mean, it is, and people don't realize, they just go in thinking like, oh, it's like, dude, you're involved. Is there an email out there or text out there that shows you suggested the venue? Guess what? You probably got a problem on your hands.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at Fire Festival. Okay?
Oh, my gosh. That's a good
the whole time that unfolded, I was like, oh, my gosh.
And that
I realize it's older, but still.
No, but here's the thing. So Fire Festival is the FYRE. I'm so glad you brought that up because I loved that. That was basically the thing where this guy like pre-sold these tickets and it was going to be this whole amazing thing. And I remember the photos that came across and it was like, oh, the VIP experience and stuff.
Right.
VIP,
a water bottle.
It was like a water bottle. And then I remember like the paper plates like a Wonder Bread, like bologna sandwich. And this guy,
No, intent.
well, and they didn't have water. I mean, it was like they kind of were almost trying to be the next Burning Man or something. But here's the thing. The guy went to jail and supposedly he's like out now and is about to do another one or something. I don't know. Maybe we should pitch ourselves for him because
I don't know. Maybe
that guy had cojones.
I can't believe that anybody will ever buy a ticket from him to that. I cannot believe it.
Well, I think part of it, though, Ruth, is we get into this whole celebrity conversation, too, which is I think plenty of people would buy it just because they'd be like, it's like this Luigi guy that just shot the healthcare worker. It's like, oh, they want to just go see the train wreck, right? It's like, oh, wait, what's going to happen? I wonder what's going to be like, what's that guy going to do? Is it going to be better? Because because here's the thing, that guy doing a festival, again, there's going to be so much press and social media around it. There was a freaking Netflix documentary about the first one. You think, so people, it's like they're attracted to the flame. You know, they want to see, they're like the gnats or whatever it is, fireflies to the flame, where they want to see what's going on. And that's the piece that's changed. It's like our instincts have gone from, hey, this is a red flag. You don't want to give this person money, to now, oh, let's see what this is going to be interesting because you know it's going to be a shit show. Excuse my language.
Right. I kind of feel like he tried to pick up and run with Sinbad's Caribbean thing.
Yes.
Some people kind of had it down, right? He had it like, you know, somebody just thought, oh, I'm newer, better, I can do it. Like maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe there's no connection, but you know, there's no original ideas anymore, right?
Right. Well, but now it's like an alchemy of ideas that have been kind of repurposed. I mean, I think AI is going to definitely change that up a bit because it's going to feel like original ideas because it's going to be kind of like ideas repurposed that then AI can spit out sort of as something new. But when you mention the whole Sinbad thing, it also kind of brings up a totally timely conversation, which is all this stuff about Diddy and the white parties, right?
Oh, boy.
And I mean, seriously, and is that not just blowing freaking up? And what's interesting, I would love your perspective on this because as planners, I mean, there are millions of event planners out there, right? But I'm sure you would agree, maybe not, that we could probably within 2 phone calls talk to the planners or whatever who were involved in all those Diddy things and all that stuff, right? It's a relatively small world once you get, you know, closer up to the top. And the thing is, there with the Diddy stuff and those white parties, there are so many vendors and staff involved in events like that. Okay, you and I know, I mean, people sometimes don't understand. They'll be like, well, how many staff helped at that Halloween thing or whatever you just did? And I'm like, on site, you know, I mean, during the event, I'm like 40 at least. People don't understand
at least, depending on how many guests there are.
Well, right. So for those events of his, you are talking about there had to be 100 on-site staff, meaning ballets, all this stuff. And the thing is that the staff sees it all. This is why there's so many stories that go to TMZ or go to, you know, Radar Online or whatever is the latest about this one is a witch, this one's having an affair, the photos or all those things, because the staff sees it all. You see who's trash. You walk in on the guy who's doing coke in the bathroom. All of it.
Or you're the bathroom attendant while they're doing it.
Well, exactly. So the thing that I'm curious about, Ruth, is how did that stuff go on for so long? Because it's like on the one hand, there are photos of everything and everybody and all that stuff. But how did all that stuff with such high profile people go on for so long? And just now, is it really coming out? Like, it can't be that, you know, the event planner said, hey, make sure you don't say anything. Was it just that people like wanted the gig to keep going because they wanted to keep producing these events? Was it because you just sort of turned a blind eye?
I mean, I obviously have my own opinion about it, but there's a couple things that really pop out to me. And so this goes back. Okay, I'm going to take it a step back and then kind of work into that.
Yeah.
So when you are doing your branding, and you are looking at what your company stands for and what your brand stands for, at some point, and it's not near the top, you have to look at what kind of event you will do and what you won't, what you will take and what you won't.
Great point.
Right? Because there's integrity, there's morality, and when it comes down to things like sex trafficking, illegal activities, whatever. I have a very firm foundation on where I would be on that.
Not only, like before, it kind of just used to be, were you willing to turn a blind eye about people doing, like, the clients like doing coke and doing drugs and doing that kind of stuff like in front of you? Now, I want to highlight what you're talking about. It's like, now we've had Jeffrey Epstein. Now we've got Diddy. It is literally, you're talking about sex trafficking minors. So keep going.
Right. And see, so if somebody chooses to do something illegal, you can't really control that, right?
Right.
But they're harming themselves. If they're doing coke or they're doing whatever, they're harming themselves. I don't want to be there because I don't want to get arrested when the police bust, or, ATF or DEA, whomever, the 3-letter agency is that walks in on that. I don't want to be involved with it. I don't want to be in that mess. I disagree. All publicity is not good publicity.
No, I agree 100%.
And but when it comes to an activity that is hurting a minor, hurting a woman, hurting a man, hurting a human being, I'm not doing it. And this non-disclosure or confidentiality agreement or not, I'm not doing it. And you know what? If that means a client doesn't want to hire me, then that's fine, because that's not the kind of work I'm interested in doing. I am more along the lines of help, never hurt, kind of thing. And both of us have always been that way. Lift women up, encourage others, increase entrepreneurship with women.
Absolutely.
And so I'm not going to do that. So I think, though, that those legal agreements, and I think that when you have somebody that's as wealthy as, P. Diddy and some of the other names that have been mentioned, there's a lot of hush money that probably goes on. And at the end of the day, if I died tomorrow, I know I didn't do anything.
Right.
I wasn't there, didn't know. But that, again, goes back to the branding. What do you stand for?
Right.
And if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing.
Correct.
Right. And so for me, that's pretty cut and dry. I mean, I am the one, get me in my popcorn and let me watch this. And every time I think that there is something that will not shock me,
oh God,
I'm either in tears. Listening to some of the girls that were there and actually listening to their story and their recount is just heartbreaking. And don't hurt a woman, don't hurt a child, don't hurt an animal, don't hurt a human. Well, don't do that. What kind of person does that?
Well, the thing too that's interesting is, I love documentaries and I love true crime, and I've been fascinated with all these things, right? And I think sometimes in the past, maybe it was like kind of the Harvey Weinstein, all of that, people it was as if, oh, these girls are asking for it. They're, what are they doing in the hotel rooms anyway? As ridiculous as that is, I mean, we can play both sides on that argument. Okay. But I think people forget now that I've seen, because there've been so many documentaries and so many things on this Jeffrey Epstein stuff, and seeing these strong women who are now much older than they were before, and how their lives have been just shattered, literally. And I don't know who listening to this can't say that at 16 or 18 years old, you did something really stupid that, had it gone wrong, you would be in a much different position today, right? We all have. And then you look back and are like, oh my God, that was a freaking close call. But in their case, it wasn't a close call. Something actually happened. And to see the pain, and to see then how many times these girls say, well, their friend told them, or their friend recruited them. And then they're like, I trusted her. I really thought she had my best interest, but she's getting $100 or whatever for the referral, that kind of thing. And going back to the Diddy stuff, because we are talking about so many high profile people. We're not talking about parties of 30. Yeah. We're not talking about hotel parties of 30 people, right? So here's my question. Let's say you're in the industry, Diddy invites you to the party, you're on the list kind of all the time, right? But let's say that you're the good guy, you're the family man, you're the whatever. If you've got the Ruth Moyte morals, do you still go to the party? Now, let me give you some more context here. So you see young girls there, right? You see that you got to put your phone in the bucket so that you can't take photos. You've heard stuff. You've heard that so-and-so just was in the bathroom doing the coke. And as I say, you've heard stuff, but you're the Ashton Kutcher of the world and you're not participating, let's say. I'm just using him as an example. I don't think you participated, but do you still go? At what point are you complicit? Where's that line? Is it our business to be now is that person being trafficked? I mean, I don't think so, but then after a while, it's, every year and it's this and that. And you kind of, what do you do? Do you opt out? Do you to err on the side of caution? I think these days, probably people are going to have to, because so many people are getting whipped up in this stuff. Now, Beyonce's husband and all this, and that's going to be a freaking hot mess down the line.
That is going to be a hot mess. So our Moyte.
Yeah. Our Moyte.
Our Moyte is, I think back to like when I was younger, and I think I was a little bit more unassuming, naive. Mm-hmm. I might have gone, but I can say I wouldn't have gone knowing ahead of time. I couldn't have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done that. But now, without a doubt, absolutely would not go, would not accept the business. Even if it was $1 million, $2 million, $8 million, I would not do it. I don't want my heart to be associated with that. I don't want my soul, my brain, my mind. Like if I saw something, I'm sorry, but isn't silence participation?
Well, yeah. And that's the big question. That's where's the line? Because the thing is, you and I have done plenty of high profile celebrity events, been involved in them in some capacity or another. And we've also had a decent amount of conversations about some of them. You want to go home and take a shower, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's not a judgment call like, oh, that person isn't smart. Maybe they're not smart, but there is a real seedy kind of underbelly component to this and I don't know why it seems to happen with celebrity stuff, but maybe it's because people want to get on the list because they want something, they want the elevated status, or they want the publicity, or they want to be able to say they were there. But there is some almost intrinsic component with, not that many exceptions that make you want to take a shower.
Yeah. So I think I used to be so intrigued with Hollywood, and I thought it would be the coolest thing ever to be a celebrity. Right. And then not, so I'm just going to take the plunge off the diving board here.
Yeah.
So I believe at this point that there is good and evil. Okay. And I believe that at some point as a celebrity, you get to choose.
Yeah.
I believe that there is a satanic or evil side to Hollywood, and you either buy into it or you don't, like Kitty said, or, some of the other people that have come out and spoken against it. Right.
Right.
I think some of the cases, I know that there's a lot of conspiracy theory out there. I don't necessarily buy into those, but if it comes, I've watched, the Grammys from like 5 years ago till now are they're disturbing to see some of the things that people participate in that cannot be. You can't turn away and go, oh, it was just entertainment. No, it's not. Right. At some point, it's not. And once you open that portal or that crack into that world, it's there and it's large and it's
and
there.
It haunts you.
It kind of
haunts you.
Incredible. But I'm a God girl, right? My faith has always been a part of my life. Was I the good girl? No. Thank goodness that there is forgiveness out there for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Amen. I'm raising my hand to that. Lord, have mercy.
So I'm not judging anyone because I got enough of my own stuff to worry about, right?
Yeah.
But at this point in time, in our culture, in our world, events, entertainment, just in the world in general, I think everything's coming out and you're going to have to choose a side. You can't ride the fence because the fence belongs to the devil.
Right. Boy, is it easy to slip off that fence. And let me ask you a question. Do you think, because you kind of gave me an idea when you're saying at some point a celebrity gets to decide, I think COVID helped this sort of, because do you think this is part of so many celebrities now leaving Hollywood and like, oh, they have the ranch in Santa Barbara or living in Idaho. You moved to Wyoming. Like, do you think that's part of it where people are just like, whoa, it was a wake up call. Enough is enough?
Well, I think that's part of it. I think the mob mentality really started that. The mob mentality is, I remember when people started doxing people or kind of getting, involved in some of that stuff. And I'm like, do you remember the Paula Deen case?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Well, and that's keep going.
Yeah. So that mob mentality, I feel like started it. Well, what happens is when you're in these huge metropolitan areas, you're either You either buy into it or you don't. You're okay with like, it's like you remember, like, so we set up a tent for an event, right? And we figure 15 square feet per person or whatever, you know, whatever it is, right? When you live in these metropolitan areas, that personal space goes like this.
Oh, yeah.
Until you have nothing. And everybody, including your job, social media made this. I mean, all of us live in a bubble bowl now, right?
Right.
So I think that it is not human nature to want to be on display all the time. I don't know how Taylor Swift does it. First, I don't care for Taylor Swift. She's not my favorite. I know that a lot of Swifties out there and stuff, and I think she's an incredibly talented woman. Yeah. But it could not be on display like that all the time. So
I mean, people just think all of this stuff that we do and are part of and everything is so glamorous and so whatever. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you guys, it's, you know, it's exhausting. And it is, I mean, on so many levels. Then you have all these now social media influencers, right? And you're 19 years old and you have a gazillion TikTok followers, or you're 22 or you're 23. But the piece that I'm fascinated is probably not the right word because it sounds positive and it isn't, but what is happening that so many of these YouTubers and everything are then killing themselves at 24 or 25? I mean, it's like you go for the fame, you get the followers, and then you're just like, now what? What's the point? What is it?
Well, okay. So this is my opinion and it stems out of who I am as a person. But what are they influencing? I mean, that's the question. They're influencing stuff.
That's a great question.
Is material. At the end of the day, you can think about it. You can have everything in the world. You can have all the money. You can have the house. You can have the cars. Yep. You can have whatever. If you're sitting amongst all of that stuff by yourself, your heart is still lonely. You're still solitary. You can't go anywhere. Like, people only want to be with you because they think that you can do something for them. Right. That is not a fulfilled life. There is only one person, not even a person, but deity. And for me, that's God, can fulfill that and make you as a whole person. So you're an influencer. You're an influencer of what? The latest cell phone, the latest clothes. I mean, have you looked at haute couture lately? I mean, oh my God, it's like, just give me some Levi's and a sweatshirt. Right. That's what most of America wants to wear. Right. Not Levi's and a sweatshirt. Exactly.
I get it.
Clothes that are functional and comfortable.
Well, I think that's why the whole athleisure thing has popped up and gone so bananas, right?
Which is, I mean, for me, with Mustard Seed and starting, the whole athleisure thing with that was a way to inspire women, and especially women that are bigger.
So talk about, because now you're out of the event industry for the most part. You're doing some consulting stuff.
I do the backside of it, right? So I don't go and produce shows anymore. Right. I love the backside of it, creating the content, creating the message, writing this, the speeches, the scripts, helping design the stage, that kind of,
like, I'm so good at. So talk about now what you're doing, because you now opened a retail store, right?
I did. So, and this is kind of born out of COVID too, because I flew to LA to help a client of mine try and save their business, because we had a group going down to San Diego already on their way down there to produce this conference, and they canceled it. And then they didn't want to pay for any of it because they canceled it. Shocking. So we were, I was flying there to work with the woman who owned the company and anyways, the day after I got there, I started getting sick and I didn't know what was wrong. By that night, I was horribly ill and didn't know if I was going to live through the night. And so the next morning, I got up and I called the CEO of the company and I said, you got to get me to an emergency room. And so she took me to the emergency room and got me in there. Turns out that my gallbladder had kind of just gone bad. So I was
just a little light, bad gallbladder. Okay.
Just a light, bad gallbladder that, had backed up. And anyway, it's TMI, but my life was in question at that point because I was so sick. So I went into surgery and my calendar for here was full. And I had a couple of consistent clients that I was working with. And I came out of surgery. The company was shut down. The other client, their business had canceled. All the shows that I was writing for. So I went from 100 to 0 in the matter of having a gallbladder removed. So I'm like, oh my God, well, what am I going to do?
Now what?
that always seems like when something bad happens, it's like, well, now what? Now when I got laid off in 2008, 2009, I started Red Dandelion. And I said, what am I going to do now? I'm going to write. I'm going to do the marketing. I'm going to do the parts of my job that I really loved. Yeah. It's like literally looking at what do I love to do? At that point, it was not only what am I going to do? I am so tired of starting over. I started over in 1993 when we had the .com crash. I started over in 2001 after 9/11. I started over in 2008. And then now here we are in 2020. I'm like, I don't want to keep doing this. Yeah. So I decided I have always wanted to do a faith-based athleisure company.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, why not do it now? I got the time. It's not like I'm writing speeches.
You don't need your gallbladder to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about it. Who's the target audience? What kind of products do you have? Where can people find it?
Yeah. So target audience is, well, I would say from like 25, because I don't think I do a very good job sometimes of hitting the super young. I'm not, with trendy, but for the woman who wants to have comfort, wants to feel good when they go out, wants to feel good when they go to the gym, likes to wear their faith on their sleeve or kind of like your heart on your sleeve thing, that I am for them. And I have people in my clothing from, I would say, early 20s all the way up to 60s and 70s.
I love it.
And I have people in my clothing that are here from the US. I have a customer in Aruba.
Awesome.
So word is kind of getting out. I don't do a lot of shipping, out that way, but you can go to www.mustardseedfaithwear, because I like those extra long.
Oh yeah. And we'll put that in
creative.
We'll put that in the show notes. Now, do you sell it just on the website and in the retail store? Or is it like on Etsy as well? Or
I haven't. I need to, because I started out very small, because I literally grew from writing it on a napkin and in a notebook, and then going back from my days in California, digging through boxes and finding my old notes. And so then set up a website. So I've done that. I do need to put it on Etsy and Amazon. I'm managing production, with that. Like I started like every dollar of this, every idea, everything
I love it.
Just came from me. Right. So, but you can get it online. And here now we have a retail shop, another girl here in town.
And where's the town? Make sure.
So we're in Wheatland, Wyoming. We're in this little rural town out in the middle of Wyoming.
Yeah.
In between Cheyenne and Casper, if catty corner from Yellowstone, but still, just really beautiful country. And so I have always set up my businesses to do them anywhere in the world. Yeah. So I can do Mustard Seed Faithwear from Italy, or I can do it from Wyoming, or I can do it in California. Same thing with Red Dandelion Creative. So now you can buy online. And if you're local, you can go into our store and pick it up. And if you're anywhere else in the world, well, you can just order it. I'll ship it to you.
Will you autograph, like if you go into the store, will you autograph the tag or whatever before you run it through the thing and say Ruth Moyte?
I will for you.
Well, yeah. Well, because like you're going to be famous after this. So, they're going to be running to small town catty corner to Cheyenne for the girl with the head, Yellowstone, and for the girl who's got no gallbladder and saying, excuse me, are you Ruth Moyte?
Yeah. Are you Ruth Moyte? And can I have a sweatshirt? It goes back to the heart. And I think we've talked about that with our brands, like who the heart of we are. And at the party, at your brand, the
party goddess. And it's all about
heart. Right. It's just, so this goes back to the heart of who I am. And wanting to encourage other women and give them, a platform to say, okay, you know what? During this last election cycle, I'm just using that as a time reference. Yeah. It became very hard to say, I have faith in God.
Yeah.
Because it was because of so much division.
Yeah.
And I want women to know out there that you get to stand for what you stand for, because if you don't, you stand for nothing.
Yeah.
Right. That goes back to the whole conversation today. Silence is participation, right?
Right.
So I want women to have the opportunity to say, I'm rooted in faith. Yeah. That's what my latest line is, the Rooted 2 collection. And it's just rooted in faith. It's the word rooted, and it's got the cross with the roots in it. It's just, it's classy. It's comfortable. It's like at the end of the day, I remember pulling up to my apartment, running upstairs and just going, I just want to be comfortable, and pulling on a pair of leggings that just feel like butter and still let your skin breathe, and a big t-shirt or a sweatshirt and curling up to watch Netflix or whatever.
I love it. Now, so as we wrap it up, because I could talk to you forever, so we'll just have to have you back.
I'd love to be back anytime you want me. This is so much fun.
Good. Well, I love that. So one more time, how can they find you?
Oh, you can go to www mustardseedfaithwear, WEAR.com.
Yeah.
Or you can, if you want me to do writing and scripting and speeching or, helping you design a brand, you can find me at reddandelioncreative.com.
I love it. And so if you're Ruth's target audience, or you're one of those girls out there, you're women, and you want to stake your claim, or you want to start your own business or whatever, reach out to Ruth, because she's an amazing mentor. And
I learned so much from you, this conversation we have no idea how many times. I still remember Marley's phone number, right? I'm not going to say it. And it's a true story, because she had a rough, and I'll close with this. She had a rough launch recently. And I was scrolling through, and I'm like, oh, that looks like Marley. Oh, that is Marley. And she was crying. And I was like, I just picked up my phone and texted her and said, girl, you got this.
And that's how at the end of the day, to me, that's what it's all about. It's just like, I cannot tell you, there were a couple real OGers that reached out with the text. And it was basically the equivalent of like, you don't even need to text me back, but you're going to figure it out. Because I was devastated. And I was like, I can hide this. I can hide and pretend it was this and that. But that's, at the end of the day, that's what it takes. And that's why I'm so glad I've got this platform. And I'm so glad now that I can highlight cool people like you and just be like, there are really amazing people out there.
At the end of the day, our industry, relationships will always rule, right? And it's everything. I can't tell you how many times, Marley and I have traveled internationally together.
Oh, yeah.
But there, just in those moments, there's that connection. Yeah. And you pick up, and it's like you left off.
Like you never even, it's like literally, and you just have the best laughs. And so on that note, I want to leave it with you guys. Cherish your friends, however you meet them. If you meet them through work, ex-boyfriends, however you meet them.
Or train wrecks. We've had a lot of those. I think we kind of got off the rabbit hole.
We'll go back to them next time, but it just leaves everybody wanting more. And Ruth, I'm so grateful to have you in my life. I'm so grateful for you helping me start the very first website that said, hey, listen, yes, you do event design and production and lighting.
And we're not telling you how many years ago that was, because we're still 29.
Oh, God, yeah.
Kicking butt.
I wouldn't need as much Botox as I do if I were still 29. But you guys go check out Ruth, Red Dandelion Creative, and Mustard Seed
Faithwear.
MustardSeedFaithwear.com. Ruth, I cannot thank you enough for being with us. And we'll bring you back. And then we'll dish about Trinidad. So,
oh boy, Trinidad.
Yeah, boy, Trinidad and Tobago. Okay.
I just flash back to our first business class seats in that airport. Just think about that, and then we'll.
On that note, we'll pick up on that one the next episode. Okay, I love you, Moyte. Thanks everybody for listening. This is your conductress, Marley Major, signing off. Please follow the show, comment, rate 5 stars, please, so I can send the next one to college. And most importantly, share with your friends. I will sign off with my new favorite train whistle. Maybe somebody will send me a real one. Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you. Thank everybody. And thanks for listening. Thanks, Ruth. Bye.
Bye.